Hi, my name is Ron Waddell. I'm a Senior Partner Solutions Architect here at AWS. I'm here with Mitch Ivanicki, a go-to-market leader at our AWS Cloud Operations and built-in partner, MontyCloud. Thanks for coming here, Mitch.
Thank you, Ron.
So today we're going to be talking about migrations from on-premises into native services. And really in those migrations, a lot of times the day two operations becomes front of mind for a lot of our customers, from the complexity and the concern of how to operate in the cloud from traditionally managing on-premises workloads. So Mitch, really what I'd like to ask you is how can we help build confidence in our customers in their day two operations? A lot of the times they're presented with this breadth and depth of solutions and they don't know where to start. What do you recommend?
Well, I recommend starting here. I know there's a lot of breadth and depth across the AWS service library, but it's important as you're building that business case for why to migrate to the cloud and why AWS to start looking at what's the art of the possible.
Okay.
But something in true Amazonian fashion, we need to invent and simplify. So if you wouldn't mind, Ron, let's get rid of this. And for this talk today, let's focus on how we can take all of what we just saw and make it work for you so you spend more time innovating and less time operating.
So how does MontyCloud really approach that? It's easy to say invent and simplify, but do you have any tools or a way to really visualize how MontyCloud approaches the simplification of day two operations?
Yep. And with that, let's pull up a flywheel, because ultimately we want to make sure that customers are spending more time modernizing than operating and optimizing. And that's where our integrations with AWS are going to help get rid of that undifferentiated heavy lifting so customers can focus on what matters to their customers. And when we look at starting this flywheel, modernization could be starting with a migration to AWS. And that could be what starts kicking off this flywheel.
Sure, and that's the use case I wanted to bring up, is customers have started their step into modernization, and they took that first step with migration. So if we go from your flywheel over from modernize to operate, let's talk about what operate means to MontyCloud. Can you give me a little context on that?
Yes, so for us at MontyCloud, it means that we're going to deploy a CloudFormation template into a customer's account, and all that's doing is setting up an IAM role. And with that role, we're able to help build a cloud center of excellence for customers in about 10 to 15 minutes. And in that time, what's really important is that we start putting the cloud into a customer's business context. And once we have that business context, it gets a lot easier to start doing cloud operations.
Great. So talk to me about what business context actually means to MontyCloud. Does that relate to the technology, or is that just a way to organize what the technology means to the business?
It would be the latter.
Okay.
Because we want it to be flexible. Customers aren't thinking of their business as AWS accounts or VPCs, when in reality it is a combination of AWS accounts, VPCs, shared workloads. So for us to be able to meet customers where they are and allow them to organize their AWS footprint into the applications that power their business, that's what we want to start with.
Great. I imagine when you put things in the context of the business, that also helps with operating things, especially for highly regulated customers, say finance or healthcare or a variety of other industries that do come with compliance requirements. Does that help with that story as well?
Yes, it does. Because if we think of the different configuration best practices that heavily regulated customers need to follow, it makes it a lot easier to focus on what needs to be done to meet those compliance frameworks. So as we look at that, it could be maintaining a certain patch schedule on servers. It could be making sure that resource configurations aren't open to the public, things are encrypted. Those are the ways that we're able to really help them there. And when we look at this business context, everything has a cost.
Sure.
And to be able to say to this application owner, these are the resources, give them access to that in a safe way, and show them their compliance posture and cost, it makes it a lot easier to start having more conversations that go into that optimize and modernize conversation.
Before we get to optimize, one question I want to talk about is generative AI is doing a lot of things to simplify operating in other industries. Are you guys leveraging generative AI in your solution?
Yes, we are. Because as we look at cloud operations, we want to make sure that our customers have an always-on senior solutions architect. Because to be able to go ask, hey, which of my resources are not compliant? Which resources am I overspending on? Why did my bill go up last month? This is value we can bring to customers immediately, and quite frankly, we don't need them to be going through a number of services to troubleshoot when they can take action immediately.
You brought up a great point of why did my costs go up? I imagine we're able to leverage the AI into that optimized bucket and talk about either performance of applications or the cost of those applications. Why don't we talk a little bit about how MontyCloud helps your customers optimize their spend and performance?
Yes. Well, one of the beauties of AWS, I feel like there's a new instance, family, or size every week. And with that, it's a lot to keep up with. So there's always going to be opportunities to improve performance and cost during the life cycle of your application on AWS. So to be able to say this application can now be more performant and cost effective by switching to a different compute size, that really provides value to customers immediately.
So you're able to take the AI and other tools within the MontyCloud suite to really ingest any changes we're making at AWS to really make those recommendations to either increase performance for our customers or decrease the cost without someone having to read through blogs or press releases or anything like that.
Yes, we want to keep up to date with that so our customers can focus on what matters to their customers.
Well, and that's a great point, right? Like we're increasing the performance and reducing cost of the applications through what we bring to market AWS, your tool's helping really guide the customer in the right direction, freeing up time and money for them to come up back into modernization where we started with the migration in day one.
Yes, and if we look at it, between the automation and the cost savings that are identified and implemented, it often fuels those modernization efforts. It could be refactoring an application from a server-based to serverless. It could be building and experimenting on the new application that's going to go out in front of customers.
So, and because this is a flywheel and it's cyclical, as they modernize and take advantage of those new technologies, it doesn't take away from what they've already done. Your solution will pick up the new technologies and again, keep feeding this flywheel to operate those modernized applications, make sure they're performant, reduce their costs, and just keep going and driving our customers forward.
Yes, because the customers should be spending their time reinventing on top of AWS.
Well, that's great. So it really, really does highlight the fact that MontyCloud's going to help customers simplify so that they have time.
Yep, so customers can then spend their time inventing.
Well, Mitch, I think this has been a great talk. I really love how we've highlighted the fact that it is an ongoing life cycle with our customers, and I really appreciate you coming out and having this talk with us.
Thank you for having me, Ron.
Thank you, and if you need more information or would like more information on MontyCloud, feel free to check the blog post linked below. Thank you.